Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Claudia and this video will be a tutorial for beginners on how to play violin. So I've been playing violin for about 8 years now, so I will use all my knowledge and tips learned from my learning experience as well as research info to teach you guys the basics of playing violin. I will be making a few videos, so this is the first part. Today we're going to start off by learning the parts of the violin. So I've got my violin here, and this here is the scroll. It kind of mimics the appearance of a snail, as you can see, but it actually just ends the violin, so that's basically it. There is no specific reason for this chosen shape, but the makers just wanted to show off their skills. So this is the scroll. Moving down, we have 4 pegs here, these back ones, and each peg is for each string. So here, this one's for G, this one's for D, this one's for A, and this one's for E, for the strings. And we only use this to tune our violin when it's really out of tune. Otherwise we use these fine tuners. Or sometimes violins come without fine tuners, then we just use these to tune our violin. Then we have our neck here, and it's there so that we can hold our violin with our hand while playing. And here is the fingerboard, where we put our fingers on the strings to create different sounds. Down here we have 2 F holes, and the reason that these holes are this shape is because if we had, for example, round holes, the sound wouldn't be as nice as if it were like a slim F shape. And also the air moves faster because it's like a slim shape, so that's why we have these 2 narrow F holes instead of round holes. And then the fine tuners are here, like I mentioned earlier. These are so that we can tune our violin every time before we start playing, so that we don't play out of tune. But we only really use these if the violin is not really off from the beginning. So if the A string, for example, sounds kind of similar what it should sound like, then we use these. Otherwise, these don't really change the sound as much as the pegs do. Lastly, we have the chin rest, and it does basically what it's called, so it's for your chin to rest. And basically, violin players should be able to hold the violin with only their chins, but it's recommended to do that once you're less of a beginner, just because you know the violin more. But yeah, you should be technically able to hold the violin with only your chin, like this. See, I'm not holding it on the neck. But yeah, this is more for skilled players, just so that you don't accidentally drop the violin or anything like that. Moving on to the bow, we have the adjusting screw, which is to stiffen and loosen the bow hair. You basically just twist this to stiffen it, and when you play, you want your bow hairs to be more stiff so that proper sound can come out, but you do not want a straight stick that's basically parallel to the bow hair. As you can see here, these 2, the bow hair and the stick, are kind of looking parallel to each other because they're both very straight, and this is not the correct way to play, because the stick needs to be a bit more loose, like it needs to have kind of a dent. So I'll just demonstrate how it should look like. Now I'm loosening the bow hair, and as you can see that the bow has more of a dent, and that's how it should be, because you don't want and also at the end of playing, you need to loosen your bow hair as much as possible. So now I'm making it loose, because when you store your violin for your next play, you don't want there to be any tension while you're not playing on the bow hairs, just so that they don't get used. As you can see here, it's very loose. You can go as much as you want, I usually keep it like this. This is a frog, and we have this here because it's used to create space between the bow and the stick so that they don't accidentally collide while playing. Then this is a stick, what I've been mentioning all time long, and it's just to hold all the hairs in place. And lastly, we have the tip here of the bow is just to connect the hair to the stick. So as you can see, I didn't mention all the parts of the violin from the image in the video because it's not extreme necessary knowledge for you to know in order to play the violin. And the ones that I mentioned are worth remembering because we use them more often. So if you want to remember and memorize all of the other ones, then just go ahead. But at this stage, they're just not the most useful to know. So moving on, we have the chords of the violin. So the thickest one here is the G string. Then the one next to it is the D string. Then this one is the A string. And the last one's the E string. It's the highest open string. Now let's talk about what you should do, proper care and maintenance. To properly play, you need to make sure that your bow has enough rosin. So you apply it like this a few times, like I usually go once up and down. Depending if you have new bow hair, then you should do it a bit more. But a good hack to check if you have enough rosin on your violin is to just slightly dab it on a dark cloth, like it could be your t-shirt. So I'll just do it here. And if it leaves like a white stain, I don't know if you can see that, like a white powdery stain, then that means that you have enough rosin on your bow. When you finish playing violin, you always want to make sure to clean it with a dry microfiber cloth. So you want to clean the strings like this, and also underneath, just to clean any rosin buildup or dirt, so it's clean for next time. You cannot clean your violin with water or any cleaning products because that would destroy your violin. You could potentially dissolve some varnish or even cause the wood to absorb some of the water, and that could just obviously destroy your violin because it could cause cracks, it could cause torn elements and things like that. So do not do it, please. So this was my lesson tutorial on parts of the violin, the name of the chords, and proper care for it. Thanks for watching my video. Please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in lesson number 2.